even my wife and I, being married for over 20 years, are still working on right now. Is that we what is it? 30 years ago, I've got my dad, da 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 da, and I've had this thing with men because of my dad, and da 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 da. Well, I have this thing with my mom from 40 years ago when I was a kid, and as a result, I've got the mommy issues. Just like we are all growing, even if we don't think we are, we still are, and we just have to be able to understand that that we all are on this path of growth and measure, so most importantly is to love each other by loving ourselves with respect first. And if we have that willingness to do so, it's easier to love somebody else through the mistakes.
So this is what you'll be sharing when I ask you what you've learned about relationship.
Sure,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So, but I'm going to have you guys keep it to. I'm thinking now. You could tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking about having you keep it for 10 minutes because I have 3 questions. I'm gonna ask you, then I'm gonna go to Tara, do Tara's question, then I'll come to Isaiah's question. And we got 3 people. We need to have maybe 10 minutes for the question, and then I want to have maybe 5 minutes after for people to ask questions. And so right now, since we don't have an audience, the people who are there can ask some questions, as if they are an audience. So we'll make sure somebody's there to answer a question of the person. Like Anthony may ask you a group, or Anthony could ask everybody questions. He agreed not to be a panelist, so he could ask, and they don't know who he is. He could ask a question of everyone as if he wants to learn, because we're going to videotape. Record this, and we're going to make it available for sale, but we need to have each person be maybe 15 minutes, no more than 20 minutes, since we're having 3 people, because we
Sure,
made for the whole hour, it's going to be too much for people to listen to.
correct.
So
That's
we're going
fine.
to have to record and then take a break, either shift from one person to the next, and then have 3 different recordings for each person. So how much time would it take you for those 3 questions, answering those 3 questions? How much time would you need?
20 minutes is fine.
20 minutes total?
Yeah.
So that would be 20, that would be 60 minutes. I would give us a whole hour then. So, well, how much time we're going to have for people to ask you questions?
I, I don't mind. I mean, give me 10 minutes. I can do it in 10 minutes.
And then, let some, so like you can do it, yeah, and then let Anthony ask you some questions so we can have some questions,
Yeah,
some data, and then some questions.
sure.
So should we do everyone be 10 minutes and then 5 minutes for questions, or what? 10 minutes and 10 minutes, a total of 20 minutes, what should it be?
I think we do 8 to 10 minutes because what happens is most people say, "Oh, I can't speak for 10 minutes," and all of a sudden it's like 20 minutes later, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't know." So
So it'll be 8 to 10 minutes, and then let Anthony ask you some questions.
yeah,
Because you could extrapolate, you could explain more in your question. So
absolutely
8 to 10 minutes to speak, and then a question, 10 to 15 minutes, or 8 to 10.
8 to 10
So eight to
because
ten each way.
everybody's going to go over. Everybody's
Yeah,
going to go over. That's just part of
yeah.
the deal.
Okay. All right. So if I can just have a 20-minute video to send out recording, that would be better than having an hour recording, because
Yep.
people are not gonna listen to it, and they may not pay for it. And we want to give them send it out and give them, they can give us a donation, for the feedback, because
Sure.
they may not give us a donation on the call, but we send out the video of the recording, and they can make a donation. Can be $1, $5, or whatever donation they want to give us.
I totally
Okay.
get it.
Okay. Anyone else have any other feedback about this?
Hey, Dr. Green, I think the feedback I'd like to throw out there is, I know we were trying to pick a date and line it in the sand and have it ideally before Valentine's Day. But I wonder if it makes more sense for us to target late February instead.
Huh? Well, maybe we could do one person for February. Michael is so it could be our main appetizer. We could do because he know his life, and we could have everybody else. I don't know. We could just have two people. I think we need to do something for Valentine's Day. People may not be interested in this stuff after Valentine's Day. I don't. I could be wrong. Am I wrong, you guys? Tara, what are your thoughts? You think I'm wrong? We just wait until after Valentine's Day, or should we just go for it? Tara, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
You think we should wait until after Valentine's Day, or should we just go for the hot button?
Well, it just depends on, the information you would like to have available. I think it would be more perhaps refined if it was a little bit later because you would have more time to prepare for it. But Michael speaks, just so fluently about his life. So he could actually be the first person in a series.
Yeah, so maybe just have one person in the series, have a 3-part series, and have Michael be the first one. Then in late February, have you, and then have Isaiah later or something.
That's something to consider, but because your topic is for women and men, you almost want to have a balance instead of just one person. So
we have to have Michael and you. We have to have your comments and Michael comment.
And keep in mind, I guess I can't remember who. I think it was Anthony. As far as the timing of it is a challenge for me also, because initially I'm kind of a behind the scenes person instead of kind of being upfront at this moment because I have so many other people.
But I'm gonna be reading yours. I'm gonna be reading yours though, so.
I still have to prepare it though.
Huh?
I still have to prepare.
You have to write the answers out. You have to write the answers.
Yeah, it's just that sometimes, especially because you're not there, you want to cover more because you're not actually able to respond to perhaps someone's response to your question.
So
there's no dialogue. So when you're just kind of putting information out there, sometimes there's a tendency to be more thorough.
So would you want to speak later then, so you can speak on your own and not have me speak for you?
That would be the following month. That wouldn't be February, though. That wouldn't be within your Valentine's Day, Valentine's month time frame. That would be a later date because I won't be able to be on the actual panel for the month of February. That's the challenge I have.
Okay. All right. So let me ask everyone here. So should we just so should the plan be to have Michael present and have me answer Tara's questions for the do a 20-minute maybe 15 20-minute thing for Valentine's Day for is that the plan we should go with, everyone? What are your thoughts on that?
My recommendation is to, I think Michael, like you said, in just 2 different meetings we've had with him, he's been delivering nuggets of wisdom that we can all glean from, and that's just winding him up and letting him go, right? So I really think that if you want to stick, so you agree, if we want to stick with the date, and if Michael's available, I think you may just want to focus on Michael. And if that means changing the topic to something that he thinks he can speak passionately about, that other people would get something out of, I think that's absolutely the right way to go.
Well, could we talk about understanding relationships, maybe?
Sure.
Rather than men and women?
This is your show. I'm open to all of the above.
Well, I think this thing about Anthony has about understanding women and men is really a hot topic. And I also started, my first one was how to have a more fulfilling, enriching relationship, and people need to learn that too. So maybe we could do, Michael, is have you talk about this fulfilling relationship stuff and then do the understanding women later. as a second follow. What do you think?
I think that if Anthony has the secret to understanding women from a man's point of view, then he's got the answers to the universe. You don't need me at all.
Exactly. And
He
and
just read
that
the book, so he definitely has some tips on it, so he can learn what he can share what he learned from the book. So maybe Anthony should be and we should go late February and let him talk about what he learned from the book. And I absolutely agree with that.
yeah, and I don't know. So I now have hope that there is a way to solve the Rubik's Cube of understanding women. So
Wow.
I believe it's possible now,
Wow.
but only as a result of that particular book. So we shall see.
So Anthony, should we have a second? Have Michael do the first one, and we should have the follow up. And so we're going to have a follow up session with
I think it's a good idea
women.
to do just like what you said, Dr. Green. Start talking in general about relationships, and I think we're going to get some good nuggets out of that conversation, and that'll kind of open up the series discussion, and we can look at follow-on.
Okay, all right. So next week when we come, tell us when you want. Do you want to have the second follow up in the latter part of January? I mean, latter part of February. Yeah, I didn't want to do it in March when Tara can show up. So maybe you and Tara would be understanding the woman and man. So maybe Mike won't do March for understanding men and women, and Michael gonna do the relationship piece. So let me see. Maybe Isaiah will be. Well, yeah, maybe Isaiah. We'll have Isaiah and Michael for the relationship, and you and Tara for in March for the understanding women and men. What are your thoughts about that, you guys?
My thought is that we should all be open to identifying good or speakers who can speak passionately about a particular subject. And so, I think that there's definitely an opportunity to motivate people to speak about a particular topic. But I think if we just kind of leave the door open for me and Tara and Michael to say, hey, this is, the series of conversations that we're looking at putting forward. Do you know anybody who might be able to speak on, understanding men or understanding women or, godly relationships or, those types of things? Then I think we may, hopefully, we'll be able to identify some representatives who can speak to it, and or maybe we'll ourselves grow into being able to produce that material. So I am certainly not confident at this point that I would be able to produce that in a month's time.
Did you not be? Well, see, Michael, I have written a book on it, so you could really read from my book. I wrote a book on understanding relationship and how to improve them. So I wrote that book 2-3 years ago. So you can certainly just read that
Hey,
from my book.
if your book helps me understand my wife and women in general, then absolutely I'll read it twice.
Well, maybe you should order my book and make the donation to the nonprofit beginning to start off the donation. And you can say, I read this book. Let me tell you, I have a book on my nephew bought my book, How to Be Alone Without Feeling Lonely. And he bought it for Christmas because somehow he broke up with his girlfriend or something. He said, I learned a lot of that book. The first chapter of that book, he said, I didn't know all that stuff. So you can learn a lot from these books I've written. I don't do a lot promoting, but apparently they help people.
I believe that.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I guess our plan right now is to have. We're going to meet together on the 22nd. We're going to consolidate that, but we're going to have Michael talk about relationship and maybe ask me have him have those questions, and then we can also explore the next session, which will probably be in March, and we'll have that one on understanding men and women. And in the meantime, if we get some more people, and let me say, Anthony, we don't want professionals. People like to have everyday people who is common, who has problems, and who's not perfect. If you're too perfect and too slick, then people don't like that. We need to have people that are struggling and say, "Oh, I've had this problem." That's what they want. They don't want slick people who just can read from a book. They want people some live experience. That's how you can connect with people. So we're not looking for any polished speakers. People that, yeah, because most of those polished speakers want to get paid, and we're not. We want to be have some people, real people. We've been in the trenches. Okay, so anyway, I think that any other questions? I think we've gone over our time. I want to thank you guys for being here, and next week on the 22nd, we will be meeting again from 6 until 7. Any other question or feedback before we end our meeting? Well, let me unmute everyone so everyone can say good night, and we will meet again on the 22nd. So everyone, let me see if Michael, you want to mute yourself, and everyone say good night, everyone.
Very good. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you all. And we'll see you again on the 22nd. Thank you, Tara, for being here and letting God use you as our only woman to stay around. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. You're a
No
blessing and
problem.
a gift.
Have a good
Thank you
evening.
all
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a good evening now. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.